In the last video, we saw how a binary chop can be used to reduce the number of guesses needed. In this video, we'll write the code to let the computer guess a number. The code will implement the algorithm that we discussed in the slides in the last video. So an algorithm is a set of steps that are followed to perform a task or calculate a result. So I'm going to start with a couple of variables for our low and high values. We need a new file for this, and I'm going to call this new Python file high-low. I'm going to take the opportunity to close some of these other tabs. Right, so the variables I'm starting with, low equals 1 and high equals 1000. So next we need some simple instructions and get the program to wait until we're ready. So line 3, print parentheses, double quotes. Please think of a number between and we need our left to right curly braces and another set of left to right curly braces, because obviously we're going to change that to the actual numbers. Dot format outside of the double quotes, low comma high in parentheses and the closing parentheses. Then we need to add a line to get started. So input parentheses double quotes, press enter to start. So on line 5, we're not interested in anything that the human types. We're just calling the input function so that the computer waits until the user presses the enter key to start the game. It will be useful to count the number of guesses. We know that the computer should be able to get the correct answer with 10 guesses at most. And that's because we're halving the range of numbers each time, and 2 to the power of 10 is 1024. So that's slightly more than 1000. In fact, the computer can guess any number from 1 to 1023 within 10 guesses. But 1023 is a strange number to show to the user. That's why we're sticking with 1000. Alright, so we need a variable now to store the number of guesses. So on line 7, I'll type guesses equals 1. Alright, so we'll use a while loop to let the computer keep guessing until it gets the answer. After each guess, the human will tell the computer whether to guess higher or lower, or if it got the answer right. We'll keep looping until the answer is correct and break out of the loop when it is. So I'm going to do while true, colon, then on line 9, guess equals low plus, and in parentheses, high take low, integer division, so 2 slashes there, 2. So we're dividing by 2 there and making sure that we're using integer division. Now I mentioned while true in an earlier video. True is always true, which means this loop will go round forever. Sometimes it's easier to do that and break out of the loop at some point rather than trying to include a condition in the while loop. So what we want is for the loop to stop when the computer gets the right answer. But because the computer doesn't know the answer, we can't include a test here. So what I mean is on line 8 here, we can't do something like while guess is not equal to answer, because we don't actually know the value of answer. So I'm going to undo that change and go back to what we had, while true, so that the program will keep looping. The line 9 is the formula that we saw in the slides in the previous video. It calculates the midpoint between the low and high values to produce the next guess. So what we'll do is we'll print the guess, then ask the user to type H if the computer should guess higher, L if the computer should guess lower, or C if the guess was correct. And we can include the text that we want to print in the input prompt. So I'm going to come down here, line 10, high underscore low is equal to input, parentheses, double quotes, my guess is, and left to right curly braces, full stop. Should I guess higher or lower? Should I type better as well? Should I guess higher or lower? Enter H or L or C if my guess was correct. Then double quotes, and we can't really see now, and I'm going to actually talk about having lines that are too long in a minute. We're going to keep typing for now and put dot format, left parentheses, guess, 2 right parentheses, then outside of that I'm going to do dot case fold. So again, as I pointed out there, that line is a bit long. So you can easily see here the problem that long lines can cause, because it's hard for me to show it all on the video. In fact, I can't show the entire line on the video right now. I don't want to digress here, but I will be talking about line length and other things about formatting your code in a later video. Remember this example and how inconvenient it is for you to type the code from my screen when we come back to code style, noting that you can't see it all at once. For now though, what I'm going to do is split this line. So I'm going to position the cursor before the E of enter. I'm going to type a double quote, then I'm going to press enter. That gives an error, as you can see, but that's okay. Just enter another double quote here, and that then delimits the split up string correctly. If I go back now, we can see the whole thing on the screen. The double quote should line up with the one on the line above, but don't worry too much about that just yet. We'll leave it as it is for now. What we will do is position the cursor again before the dot of format, up here before the dot, press enter again. That's now split the line into 3. Now rather than lining it up manually, what you could do is go to the code menu and choose reformat code. Most modern IDEs have a similar feature, and now the code is correctly formatted, as you can see. Alright, so I think you'd agree now that's easier to read. You can now see all the code on my screen, and I don't have to scroll sideways as much to show it to you. Alright, so moving on with this program, we've got 4 possibilities to deal with. The user could enter H for a high guess, so let's start with that. So I'll start that on line 14. If high underscore low is equal to H in lowercase, colon, remembering we're using case fold on line 12, so we're guaranteed it's going to be in lowercase. And the comment here, we want to guess higher. The low end of the range becomes 1 greater than the guess. Now I'm not going to add the code for guessing higher. Let's get all the conditions in place first. That'll let you see what the conditions are, but it will cause a problem because the error message is very confusing. I want to get the error and explain it. Right, so moving on now, the next condition to test is if the user enters L for lower. So we're going to go ahead and do that on line 17. Elif high underscore low is equal to L colon, again in lowercase. And the comment for that will be guess lower. The high end of the range becomes 1 less than the guess. So we're getting errors here, but we'll ignore them for the moment. Next, the input would be C if the guess is correct. So let's move down onto that, line 20. Elif high underscore lower is equal to C in double quotes, lowercase c, colon. So what I'll do is just print out the answer here. I don't need to add a comment. So print parentheses, double quotes. I got it in left to right curly braces, guesses, exclamation mark, double quote, dot, format, guesses. Alright, we'll scroll up a little bit so we can see the code. Alright, so that's the 3 conditions that we expect, but humans often don't do what we expect, and we should also deal with anything else that they might type. We're going to use an else block to do that. I'm going to come down here on line 23, else colon, print, parentheses, please enter H, L, or C. So if they do anything else, we just remind them what the 3 options are. Alright, so I'm going to stop the video here, and in the next one, we'll look at why we've got those errors. See you in the next video.